Now I think those dots are still too big, and I'd like to put some labels out on the right side showing the currency amounts for each one of the cash register receipts. So let's see, we're over here in layout. We're going to go to, let's click on the dots. No, let's not. Let's do it this way. Select chart area, go down here to the dots, that is the series receipt amounts. Those get highlighted. Then let's format that selection. Marker options. I want to go to built-in so I can make some choices here. Let's get rid of the diamond and go to a dot. Those dots are too big. Let's take it down to, size 3. And marker fill, solid fill, and we'll go to black, which since I had at some previous time selected black, it went right to black. Okay, so we've made those dots black. Let me click out of there just to show you what things look like now. There's a little blue around it. I could change that, but I'm not going to worry about it. Let's get back on the chart. And I wanted to put the currency amounts right to the right of that, so that's data labels. Currency amounts to the right. There they are. I want to make them dollars though. So data labels again. Let's go to more options. Let's go to number. I want to make it currency, and I don't want to do it with cents. 0 decimal places. So there are the dots with the amounts next to them. Now this screencast is going on a little longer than I had actually meant for it to go on. But let's do one more thing that'll be actually more important next week. During this class, we constructed an analysis of variance table. There was a reason. It was kind of hard because we did all the computations. Let's see how we're going to be doing this next week. I'm going to go up to the Data tab. I'm going to go over here to Data Analysis. That's what I refer to from time to time as the Analysis Toolpak. Now, if you haven't added that Analysis Toolpak in, you're going to have to do that, and it's different depending upon the computer you have, and there's a little section in the textbook that you can go to do that. I'm not going to try to demonstrate that now. But let's click on the Data Analysis tab and see if we can find Anova single factor. That's the one-way Anova. We'll select that. OK. And we'll get a text box. The first question is, what's your input range? That is, where is your data? And our data is in these two columns, the Store 1 and Store 2 cash register receipts. It's by default showing that the data is in columns, so we don't have to change anything there. And we've highlighted Store 1 and Store 2, so there are labels in the first row, so Excel Analysis Toolpak knows that there are labels in the first row. We do click it. And now we can put the output that we're going to get here on a new worksheet, but I don't want to do that. I want to keep it on this worksheet. And in fact, now I got to click over here because I'm going to tell Excel where the upper left-hand corner of the output is to be. And all I have to do is click on that cell, H1 here. It sees H1. So I've completed all the required selections in that drop-down box. I'm going to say OK, Toolpak. Go ahead and compute. Oh, they know they're going to override something which is already in this cell, and I'm going to just tell them that's okay. That was just a note to me anyhow. And there's the output. Let me pull it over here. And you can see what you've seen in class before. This is the Anova single factor analysis Toolpak output. Store 1, there are 5 observations. The sum of all of those 5 observations in sample 1, the store 1 cash register receipts are 400. The sample mean is 80, and the sample variance is 103. We actually use the sample standard deviation, but we can calculate that as simply the square root of the variance. And here are the store 2 numbers, 5 observations in the store 2 sample, the 5 cash register receipts. The sum is 500, the average is 100, and the variance is 79. And here's the Anova table, just like, with the exception of this last extra column, just like we completed it in class. Excel calls it between group variation, whereas on our Excel table and in our textbook it also refers to this as among group variation. So this is the SSA quantity. That's the 1000. There's the SSW, the 728. There's the SST, the sum of these two. Degrees of freedom for the numerator, degrees of freedom for the denominator, and degrees of freedom associated with SST. Here are the MS numbers, 1000 divided by 1, MSA, 728 divided by 8, MSW. MSA divided by MSW, that's the 10.98901. There's the p-value, and we don't use the critical value method for making our decisions, so we'll ignore that column, at least for now. The last thing we might want to do is, how do we go from variance to standard deviation? And let me just form a new column here, standard deviation. And I'm going to simply take the square root of the variance to get the standard deviation. Square root, how does that go? Square root. Square root of the number right here, that's the sample variance. Tab out of there. And there's the sample variance. I think we saw it before with less decimal place accuracy, 10.149 to 3 decimal places. And let's just pull that standard deviation thing down here. So we're taking the square root of that, and then we have the standard deviation for the store 2 cash register receipts. So this will be a quick and easy way to make the calculations we need, and we will do that next week. The idea of what we did this week was to really get a feeling for what all these numbers meant.